Alrighty, guys, welcome back to another session. And today's date is March 19th. It is a Thursday. We came out with a break even trade. I took this YM short here as we did. Sorry, I already deleted everything because I already recorded a video, but the mic wasn't working. So I took this YM short that was located here, and we took this down to my relevant levels, which I wanted to see was the lows below us. There was SMT in between these highs, displacement lower, and this is basically your 10 a.m. open high low close, 10 a.m. SMT press lower, and my draw on liquidity was for the ultimately it was for these weekly lows that's located below us like this, as well as those equal lows that is located here as well. So with that being said, these were my draws on YM, and I wanted to trade it lower as we are in bearish order flowing market. And we can also take notice of daily profile being clean, 1 hour time frame being clean, 1 hour SMT, 30-minute, 15-minute swing formation. We had that 15-minute C3 trading that 15-minute C4, and we're trading that C4 down to those lows. I went break even as soon as I crossed this level, and from this level here, from going break even, this is where I wanted to go to, was those two draws on liquidity, right? And then I did have my entry like this, which was your candle opening of that 15-minute candle, right? But other than that, I went break even as soon as we crossed this level, and from there I got stopped out of break even. Price made a deep retracement, and away from this trade in itself, I am done for the day. It's just, you don't want to see, like, honestly, with it already expanding like this, you want to see it rip through it, and you don't really want to see deep retracements all the way back into the range like this, because what does that become now is this just becomes a higher time. This just becomes a consolidation. New York, the entire New York session is just consolidating and not doing anything currently. So with New York just going sideways, this is a barcode. You don't want to participate in the barcode. The 15-minute is chopped. You don't want to go and just be like, oh, okay, new 15-minute C2, look for a 3-minute CISD. Oh shit, we got like an opposing block here, you can enter here. Nah, you don't really want to do that. At least for me, that I just wouldn't want to trade something like that, because for one, this isn't a CISD. That's not a CISD. This is just a black candle. It's nothing crazy, you know what I mean? But with that being said, nothing here for me anymore. I am calling it a day, and honestly probably a week, because tomorrow is Friday, and it's statistically proven for me that Fridays are it's red overall over the last 6 months. I'm red on Fridays. Even with the 10 a.m. I'm red on Fridays. Like, that's just how it is, right? So I might be taking tomorrow off as well. And yesterday I didn't take any trades because it was FOMC. But other than that, let's go and drop in on this here. We'll talk about gold as well, because I was looking at gold, but there was a instant disqualification on gold. That's why we didn't even look at it. We looked at it for like 2 seconds and was like, fuck that. All right, but other than that, let's go and drop into this from the top down and talk about why we got on side with the trade. What we was looking for was NQ, because we was eyeing NQ, and my whole thought process from the top down, really. So with that being said, let's drop in on it. So taking a look here on the daily time frame, as you can take notice of, we are in bearish order flowing market. We do have a Monday open high on the weekly type profile. This is not really something I was looking at completely, was the weekly profile. My basic thought process was taking, what is this doing up there? Right, was taking notice of this. I wanted to at first I wanted to trade the lagging asset logic for NQ to reach down to break the SMT that YM has already put in. So with this being said, I wanted to see lagging asset logic play out. Asset logic. Sorry, I gotta make sure this wire is not hitting my arm, because if not, it's gonna unplug. All right, so I wanted to see the lagging asset logic, as we do want to go and tap into and break this SMT. That was my original thought process. Why? Because YM was failing to manipulate. So if YM is going to fail to manipulate this low, then we can see NQ switch strengths to catch up to go and break this SMT. With that all being said, we do take notice that NQ is tapping into a relevant level, ES also tapping into a relevant level, and there is reasonings for us to go higher. So I was just waiting for that strength to switch into NQ. And how do we do that? For me, it is just looking for a new fractal to form. Lagging asset logic. After the leading takes a draw, wait for a new fractal to form, allowing the phases to pass, and so on and so forth. So with that being said, from there, I waited for, wait, sorry, we're doing from top down. What else am I looking for? Is I'm looking for a clean daily profile. Do we have one? A nice open high expansion away into this relevant level, failing to manipulate, right? Failing to manipulate, which means lower prices to go down to the next draw on liquidity. So this is where I wanted to see NQ flow to, as YM has already taken that draw. But unfortunately, NQ's price signatures was not up to par there. So with that being said, because NQ's price signatures was not up to par, we know that YM is the weakest asset. Do we have further draw on liquidity? Yes, we do. So I wanted to see YM keep flowing downwards, and I wanted to see YM flow down to these weekly lows, as these are very obvious draws on liquidity, and it's very possible for YM to just keep flowing down to them. So with that being said, this was my draw on liquidity for YM and where I wanted to see price go to today. So with that being said, do I have a clear intraday profile? Yes, we have a nice open high profile where we do start to expand away. We are trading from internal to external. We have the failure to manipulate. We do have us expanding away from this high. So, sorry, my bad. Right? So we do have us expanding away from this high. We have a clear daily profile. We are making our way downtown. Whatever. And then now we can take notice of that 6 a.m. C3, looking for 10 a.m. C4. From there, I'm taking notice of a 1 hour SMT high. I'm marking this out. In fact, we're not going to mark that out because that's not what I looked at. But I did see it after the whole fact of taking the trade, right? We had that 1 hour SMT high like that. But basically, from there, I can see that I have an established or possible high a day that was getting formed here, and we expand away from it. We have an obvious draw on liquidity that I wanted to see price go down to, and we have bearish order flow within the market, so everything is telling me to go lower. With that being said, I zoom in here on the 30-minute time frame just to check. We do have a nice push, whatever. I'm going to mark out the 10 a.m. because this is the time period that I do trade. And we could take notice from here, we do have a 30-minute C2 that's pressing us downwards at 9:30. If we have a 9:30 30-minute C2, what can we anticipate from 10 a.m. to be a 10 a.m. C3? From this 9:30 there, I take notice on the 15-minute time frame. We do not have a 15-minute C2 here, but we do have SMT in between this highs, and this is where I was paying attention to, because now I can trade this candle. So I was looking at this 15-minute C3 closure and trading within this 15-minute C4 down to the downside. My draw on liquidity was for 2R, and from there my stops went break even as soon as I crossed this low that was located here. So with this break even, this is my lowest point of the day. Price hit my break even point and made a deep retracement, and from that point on, that's just, you don't want to see this, right? You don't want to see a deep retracement. It also missed this first weekly low. So right, so it missed this first weekly low as well. So with this being said, it's just like, that's not good price action at that point, right? It's just chop. So from there, I wanted to obviously see these lows become the draw on liquidity, but price did just rip down, hit my break even, and then rip back up, made a deep retracement. And from that deep retracement here on the lower time frame, it's just fucking, you don't want to trade this anymore, right? Because what does this entire thing become? This entire thing just become, oh shit, sorry. This entire thing with that deep retracement now just becomes a big consolidation as price has low-key kind of expanded, and now we're just barcoding right here. So with that being said, do you want to participate in that? No. What we wanted to see was NQ and ES also move together as well. What did NQ and ES doing right now? Barcoding. Do we want to trade anything inside of a barcode? No. The day is over. Accounts are locked. Protect your capital and move forward and move on. With that being said, from there, I'm looking at, let's just go back to what we was talking about. Hold on, sorry. right? So from here, I do have my entry is like this, and that's right on that new 15-minute open. My stop loss was at the 15-minute swings high. So it's like this. Um, my stop was actually like that because I don't really care for all of that, right? And then now I'd like to see price go down to these draws on liquidity, and then your break even point was here. So why could I put my stop loss? Like at first, this is one of the things that I thought about before jumping in the trade. I was like, okay, I really don't want to enter this push down, which is very strong, right? It was very strong push. We do have this CISD here. But the true CISD is a little bit higher. But like your obvious CISD is there, but the true CISD is this one here. Why was I hesitant to put this position on at first is because I did not like all of this shit that's located right there. So with all of these highs, I really didn't want to put my stop loss there. But however, we do have an SMT as NQ has taken these highs here and was putting in those SMTs. And from this point as well, when we're taking a look at that 10-12, what is NQ doing? NQ is also having a very strong closure at 10-12 as well and looking to get that CISD down to the downside. Why do I not want to trade NQ anymore is because the signatures and price here was not as strong as this one. This is obviously showing us the most bearish action versus NQ is kind of holding up and it's not even CISDing yet. So that's why I could get on side with the YM trade as the weaker asset to hit the continuation to these lows versus trying to trade the lagging asset logic to these lows because NQ was no longer was the phases in price was it was supporting it to go lower, but it wasn't supporting it for to be the weakest asset to go lower, right? So with that being said, we jumped in on this YM. I used my stop loss as these SMT highs that's located like this, and we did have that very strong closure that closed through, and yeah, from there it's just jump in and fucking go break even as soon as you cross the lowest point of the day. Because realistically speaking, you don't really want to see it fuck around like this. You know what I mean? Like, did I go break even for good reason? I went break even as well because we did have this little opposing candle. But realistically speaking, after hitting this level, you really don't want to see a deeper tracement. You'd much rather just see it push through because you are aiming for external weekly lows. So with us aiming for external weekly lows, you don't really want to aim for those, right? You want to aim for your more previous day, your closer draws on liquidity, and if you're going to hold your stops open anyway, because if not, it can fuck around and it's a weekly low. It could take a weekly time. It's a weekly and a daily low. It could take a long time for it to go and hit that where we can just accumulate, manipulate, and then continue lower because of just time in general, right? But with that being said, this is where we're at, and we just went break even at that current day's low, which is valid. Do you want to trade anything here anymore? No, absolutely not, right? So with that being said, you don't want to do it because why? It's just deeper tracements like this after taking a relevant level and edging that break even. What does it do? It pushes up into the range. It's just, that's not good signatures and price. You want to see a straight flush, and yeah, obviously we didn't get that. So with that being said, this is your overall model. And yeah, just we didn't get the delivery that we wanted to, right? But everything else was good. So let's just go over the checklist in general to see what we could see. Universal models was an open high low, or universal models was IRL. ERL was aiming for those weekly lows that was considered ERL. Intraday profile did have a nice and clean open high low close where we open high and we started to go and expand lower. The clear phases in price was telling me that we did have a retracement, right? A nice retracement phase of price, boom, accumulation, manipulating with that SMT high as there was that AMD. There's your accumulation, manipulation, looking for distribution, accumulation, SMT manipulation, and looking for the distribution. So your phases in price was clear. Your C2 or your C3 here does have a nice strong closure. Everything was in check for that to be considered a valid C3 closure to me. We did have a protected high to go and trade away from as there was those SMTs. At first, I was a little hesitant because of the fact that they were kind of like stacked highs, but the SMT does protect them. Sorry, hold on, where are we? Entry signature 15-minute pullback was we let the C2 close. We did have an SMT C2, however we was trading within the 15-minute C4, and or I mean technically it is the C3 because of the SMT and shit. But with that being said, the draw on liquidity was still available and was very obvious. We did have that lower time frame V shape where it was pressing down quite aggressively, and yeah, these steps is just there. But yeah, that was fucking literally it, right? That's the model. I mean, it ain't that overly complicated. SMT has the added confluence, but nonetheless, we traded the weaker asset as well, down to the obvious draws. So, was it a good day? Yes. Was the plan followed? Yes. Was I trading at peace? Was my emotions in check? Yes. Did I have any doubt in my setup? No. Was I very confident in the setup? Fucking extremely. Am I okay with getting stopped out at break even? Yes. Did I lock my accounts after and getting stopped out at break even, realizing that price action is bad and recognizing the market conditions and not being like, oh, 15-minute C2, retry this entry? No, we're not doing that. Okay, cool. So everything is in check. We got break even on the day, and that's fucking trading. And I am very, very extremely happy with my performance today. And now I can just go about my day and know that I followed my plan, and yeah, did my job today. Pretty chill. Pretty chill, right? I did like the way that I will say this in terms of like psych review and emotional review. Um, for myself, I am really, really enjoying just within the past week. I mean, I'm like the last I would say the last 3 weeks, to 2 to 3 weeks, bro. Um, just for people who do end up watching all the way up to this point in the video where I do like these little psych reviews, I been having a hard time. Um, just personal life issues, bro. Personal life. We took a hit. We took a hit in person on the personal side of things, not financial or anything, just like a mental hit. There's like a mental hit. Maybe one day I'll share it with everybody. But right now I just keep it as personal. And yeah, we took a mental hit. So for the last 3 weeks, bro, it's kind of tough mentally. Like I couldn't trade. And that's what you gotta recognize as well, was like you have to recognize when you're not mentally sound to be on the charts in itself, right? Because a setup can be for you. A setup can be good, but if you don't got good mental, bro, you're fucked. You're not gonna be able to go and carry on about your days. You're not gonna be able to take a loss, but you're gonna take the losses personally. Don't take things personally. You know what I mean? And just be like, you're not. I wasn't able to learn, and I was set off tone. I lost a lot of momentum. I lost a lot of momentum from that incident that did happen in personal life that took away about 2 to 3 weeks. But now I'm starting to get the ball rolling. I'm trading back at peace. And if anything, that little bit of a quote unquote break that I did take was very helpful for my mental. Um, and I really solidified my trading in a way, right? I'm more so I'm filtering a lot more. I'm filtering a lot better. I'm trading at peace. It's easier for me to follow the strategy that I am presented now because of the fact that I am pretty much doing it like that, right? I also have this, bro. Check this shit out. I'm gonna maybe, yeah, pretty soon. Hold on, sorry. Oh, it doesn't show. Does it show? Hold on. I'm trying to see if it gets it. Ah, it doesn't show. Ah, fuck you, dude. Whatever. Um, I'm building up a Discord right now with. I'm building up a Discord right now, and I'm gonna try to put in at least like 200 examples, or 100 examples of just broken down trades of everything I talk about. It just screenshot format. It's not gonna be the nicest and cleanest, but it'll be fire, bro. It'll be fire. From there, I'm gonna stop rambling and continue about our day, guys. I mean, if you follow your plan, that's all you gotta do. I would say this: trade at peace. I'll leave you guys with this, right? Trade at peace. Find something that's peaceful enough. Find something that's easy enough to follow. Find something where you know that when you take it, you have no hesitation. Find something that you can take consistently. Find something that you can look at it and recognize the consistency in between the setups for it to be considered your good setup and bad setup. Like that way is like you have no questions whether or not this is a good trade or bad trade, right? And that is what I would recommend because that's something that's really helping me, right? And why? How did I do that? I back tested and I journaled every single trade for the last 100. I'm at 140 now, but I want to do it up to at least 500 at minimal. I'm going to try to get it to 1,000 of fully screenshotted, broken down from the top down trades. But there's a consistency to every single trade that needs to show up, whether it's a win or a loss. And just find something that works for you, simple enough for you to follow, not complicating where you have any doubts in your setup, and just allowing it to happen that way where you can be at peace, because that's how you want to trade, right? Is at peace and fucking brain dead, dog. Be brain dead about it. The whole driver TradeZella told me that that's where I'm losing money. My live data tells me that. So what am I doing now? I'm waking up at 9:30. I wake up at 9:30, brush my teeth, drink my coffee, 30 minutes, stretch on the charts. Nah, I mean, I'm waking up a little earlier, but I'm not on the charts at market open anymore because there's no reason for me to anymore, right? My edge lies at 10 a.m. and that's just what it is. So I am a strictly 10 a.m. trader now. Um, and I just also got to realize that everything that is before that is doesn't belong to me anymore, right? Um, with that being said, I'm gonna log off because I'm rambling again. But if you guys like this type of content, be sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. And I will catch you guys in the next session. Break even on the day. Peace.